Yo, 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 it's another episode of Mark Mania Club. But before we dive right in with me and my boy Thomas, it's going to be the socials here you just want to post up and listen to. It's going to be X, Twitter at Mark Mania Club, as well as TikTok, Instagram, and SoundCloud for at Mark Mania Club. And then on YouTube as well, where you're probably listening to this, it's going to be at the MMC Podcast. Give us a listen. Have a nice day.
Throwing out random little things for the cold open.
Oh, so we had a cold open planned?
I didn't have one. I was trying to improvise.
Oh,
we all know I'm the comic relief on this podcast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, people who are a wrestling enthusiast, so to say, I'm one of your hosts here, Munchie Panda. They call me Munchster or Munch, not the Munch like Ice Spice, but I'm going too far with it. But yeah, take it from here. My other co-hosts here, we have Thomas, T-Dog.
I already did this intro before, but our host wasn't recording. So you can find me on Twitter at TDog912 or now X.
That is on me, ladies and gentlemen. That is on me.
You know what is on you? Know what's also on you too? The fact that you went to me before and you were getting giddy over a Cornette reference on Raw.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, as we record this, we're about, 2.5 hours out from the segment on Raw that occurred on March 25th.
We're about like 2 minutes out from the ending of Raw, let's be real.
Oh my god, the Cornette, though. Yeah, this is a quick shout out. You know, Punk was in the ring and he just said, he pointed to McAfee, he said, look, I don't listen to your podcast, I listen to Experience and Drive Through. He didn't say Jim Cornette explicitly, but if you know, you know, and Twitter was just having a field day with this. You go to hashtag Jim Cornette, it's ridiculous. The Drive Through Experience. I'm definitely looking forward to hear Jim Cornette's reaction or his opinion on this in his podcast. The Drive Through, ladies and gentlemen, and the Experience. Of course. First topic of the house is contracts. We have the Fightful link is up in front of us here. Do you have it in front of you too? Right? I believe so. Fightful basically has provided a bunch of contracts that are going to expire. We're going to go over them and I guess kind of set the tone, right?
Most notably, we're going to go over the ones that are expiring alarmingly soon. Yeah, so we got these have been reported by Fightful, as you said before. There's going into WrestleMania with the names that they have and the matches that have been announced for so far. There's quite an interesting amount of matches and superstars who are on this card that there's a chance they very well could not be a part of the company in a few months.
That is a high possibility, honestly. And I mean, it's give or take. You never know. Most of these things are signed under the table, and then they're, found out weeks in advance. Like, oh, they did sign the contract after all. That kind of thing. And who's to say if they're not going to sign or not? Do we always judge it by the booking?
Not necessarily. I mean, they could be, the most notably, the three people on this list that we should talk about is Drew McIntyre. As you stated, his contract is expected to expire somewhere after WrestleMania. I think they reported he signed a 1-year extension last year when he came back at Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, their contracts are expected to expire around June of 2024 this year. So it's very interesting that our two contestants for the World Heavyweight title have a chance of not being here. Now, do you think that they're going to be here come June?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're definitely going to show up. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, it's WWE, first off. I mean, you look at the people, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, their reigns the past year, WWE doesn't really have in some small cases, they don't really have a habit of putting superstars out in a good path. But excluding Edge in most recent times, and most notably Edge, because his send-off was his match he wanted and so forth against Sheamus, and he went on his terms. With Drew, Seth Rollins, and Becky, they're all in a major push. As you said, a world title scene. Drew's on fire since he got drafted, back to Raw in the fall time. Was he even on? I don't know what it was. He was back on fall basically after his
Yeah, I
loss.
think he was formally drafted when they did the draft, but he didn't come back for like almost another like month and a half after that.
Right, and he was teaming with Riddle for a bit, and then after that, he was showing signs of a heel.
Well, he had that match with Gunther at SummerSlam for the IC title.
Yeah, no, but just following that loss, he just started showing lack of morale for the roster when they started apologizing for Jay showing up, and it's like, okay, fuck it, I'm going to be an asshole. And CM Punk and him have been on fire as well. Drew and Seth Rollins have been on fire. He's just been close, but couldn't win the big one. And he won the Elimination Chamber, and he's going to Mania. So I think he's definitely re-signing.
I'm going to play some devil's advocate here. What if they don't? Because I look at this. I look at these three guys or these three superstars, and I think the one person who has the highest chance of not re-signing is Seth Rollins. You look at it, and he's one of those people who he's one of those people that, you know, he could take some time off and then come back, you know, like sign a new deal later on in the year. He and Becky both could, but he's one of those people that is in a very similar manner of Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson is someone, and AJ Styles is someone who very much wants to use his talents to bring the wrestling world forward and push it forward, and you know, break new grounds and records and spotlight and, you know, headline news articles regardless of who they're published by. I could see him maybe doing like what Jon Moxley did a few years ago and not sign again. Now, my reasoning for this is if you look at, you know, a lot of what Seth has said over the last few years has been how he basically has felt like an afterthought when next to Roman and Becky and all that. And I don't want to like speak for him because we obviously don't know the mindset of these wrestlers and these people. And, you know, you got to take into account that some things are maybe said in kayfabe and some things are just said, you know, personally.
You know, the whole Kevin Nash, Scott Hall outsiders, like they just showed up in WCW. Like, you know, no one knew what was going to happen. What if Drew and Rollins did that? You know what I mean? Like they showed up in AEW.
I could see Seth going on a very similar journey that Jon Moxley did after the fact. I could see him doing a little small tear in Japan as well as like AEW. Seth Rollins is one of those very interesting people where like he's not a wrestler. He's not an Adam Copeland, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk caliber wrestler where like him being added to a roster is going to shake the entire wrestling division. I mean, it's definitely going to create some headlines for sure. You know, like him and or Drew being added to that, like that's some like pretty shocking signings. And like we discussed last week about who's a draw, but he's not somebody who like really needs the spotlight over there either, you know?
Oh, I totally agree. He definitely doesn't need that spotlight, but I think Seth he's been about the big time wrestling. I mean, he's so used to the big time crowds and big fight feels that, I mean, AEW, in my opinion, could actually provide that as an alternative.
Like,
so, I mean,
honestly, I'm marking out a little bit here. I would love to see Tyler Black in the G1 Climax. Him do the Iron Man tournament because Seth is like, I mean, you got your wrestlers, you got your like underdog types, but Seth is their Iron Man for the WWE. He's the one who can put on those, you know, long endurance heavy matches and stay consistent. I could totally see him doing that tournament, especially since New Japan is going to be clawing for new people after the exits of like Will Ospreay and, you know, yeah, sure. Like Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada and Mercedes Moné left to, you know, go to AEW, but they may have gotten like a Nick Nemeth and promoted Dave Finlay to that spot, but you're still kind of missing that really intense gaijin that they're looking for.
that big name that they need. I think Seth Rollins can definitely. I mean, in AEW, there's so many ways he can show up. I mean, he can if he did show up to AEW directly, he would definitely confront John Moxley, and that story would be teased right away. I felt because they obviously have history, and I feel hardcore wrestling fan that's watching AEW knows the history behind John Moxley and him in the Shield, and they know Seth Rollins, so that could be something interesting. But yeah, I think going into New Japan and tearing it up and just wrestling would be awesome. But then you also have to think he probably just wants the natural time off, and he's probably just going to take the rest of the year off and just.
Ooh, yeah. Selfishly, I would love him in the G1, but realistically, like that man needs to rest.
He's had
the man
a
has
baby
been
at home.
through X amount of injuries over the last year.
Oh yeah, exactly. He has a kid at home. He's, I mean, and him and Becky can. I mean, I want Becky to be champion. Don't get me wrong, because if she's gonna be champion and beat Rhea, she's gotta. I feel like she would have to hold it for a while to remain credible. But at the same time, I think it would just be a good opportunity for Seth and Becky to kind of relax, a little bit, stay home.
Drew, I could see going to AEW.
Oh man, you see, if he did go to AEW, right? Let's say his contract ended at Mania. If he did go to AEW, a way that could be booked for him is to be joining up with Adam Cole and replace Wardlow, turn Wardlow face.
See, I want to see this. I want to see this DM Hunk character have promo battles with Christian Cage.
Oh man.
I want to see him have these promo battles with Christian Cage, Adam Cole, MJF. I think could also be tear the house down too. Suppose that's where he chooses to stay.
Allegedly, but I think with Drew though, I mean, he's gonna win the title at Mania. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, he's gonna win the title at Mania, and. As they announced on Raw, I mean, Punk just announced on March 25th, Punk is going to be on commentary. So that's going to be something interesting going forward. You never know what's going to happen there.
Very interesting that they're choosing to have him on commentary for the match.
I like that because here's the thing. When I was watching it, they were talking about, come on, Chicago, do you want Punk, after he's going to say special referee, to be on commentary? I was like, I mean, it's not bad, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I thought a lot of people were expecting, at least special enforcer, maybe prevent a cash-in. But, I think Punk being on commentary, he could play a role in terms of stopping a cash-in too.
He could. I think I could realistically see that happening. I think it's just because there's so much story potential for both men. Because I feel like the immediate feud when Punk comes back, is gonna be with Drew.
Oh yeah, they have not a lot of history, but just they made it feel like they've had a long-term blood feud for the past like 5 or 10 years, just within the past 3-4 months. Yeah, they made it feel like that way. It's nice.
Well, it's just crazy to me because the feud started out with Seth and Punk, and it's very clear that the match at Mania was going to be Seth and Punk.
Definitely, yeah.
So. To see that the seeds were planted with the Drew heel turn, No, he was already heel when Punk came back. But the seeds with,
not to me. He was telling the truth the whole time.
I mean, he's been telling the truth. Let's be real.
He's been playing it legit too. Let's be real. He didn't ask for anyone for help. I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but yeah, I love Drew. We love Drew over here. Well, I do.
We all love Drew. This is a Drew McIntyre safe space.
Drew McIntyre, we love you over here. Definitely gonna tag him in this. But yeah, and then again, let's go down the list real quick. Becky Lynch. If she doesn't beat Rhea, is it really gonna hurt her? It's just gonna boost Rhea's credibility, and it helps, right? That's the whole goal of the business nowadays. Put people over.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely. Yeah, I don't.
Hey, how about this? Becky gets her first chamber win, and Rhea beats Becky at Mania. It's kind of a little thing. I don't, and maybe
Damian Priest cashes in on Rhea Ripley.
Well, let's not go down there, but maybe I was gonna say that maybe Rhea drops the title to Becky down the road, which I think they shouldn't focus on Becky too much now. But everyone keeps saying Tiffany Stratton, and I think, okay, cool, yeah, but don't have Tiffany slit. I would just make it a triple threat and maybe add Tiffany somehow in there, and then like have Tiffany pin the other person after Rhea's dance. You know what I mean? Make her the champion that way, because I don't think Tiffany has proven just yet. So
Can we also talk about can we I understand, wrestling and isn't the same as it was 10, 20 years ago. I really hope post Mania we're done with these long 300-day plus title reigns.
no,
What do you mean no?
what do you mean? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I need to go down a list. Gunther's reign. Did you hate it or love it, or do you hate it or love it?
So it has nothing to do with the current champions themselves. It's just Triple H. I mean, even with his booking in NXT, Triple H has always been about these 250-day plus reigns, more than 6 months. And I think for certain stories it works, but I'm not a fan of the story. I'm not a fan of doing it to break a record over serving a decent story.
That makes sense. I understand that.
We had Io Sky has been champion since SummerSlam, and I understand that they've been doing this feud with with Bayley, and it was very clear, it was very cut and dry that this was going to be the match going into Mania, and I have no problem with that. But did we really need think of Io Sky's reign from SummerSlam to now, and give me one noteworthy title defense.
Yeah, I can only think of matches she's had on SmackDown. I can't say anything off the top of my head she's had on a PLE.
And they're all damage control tag matches that you're probably thinking of.
Exactly. I was thinking War Games just right now. Yeah.
You got that, and that's one instance.
I guess Crown Jewel, but I mean that wasn't even memorable in my opinion, just because I think it was memorable for Kairi Sane returning.
Gunther, Seth has held the title for 300 plus days. I think he's going to hold it for another couple, 2 weeks until Mania. He'll probably hold it for 315, 320 days. Still a pretty cool feat. You then got him, Judgment Day's held the tag title since I think probably 2 weeks before War Games. Those are the tag titles are, I feel like they've been nothing but props over the last since Sammy and Kevin had them. Well, because you had Jay and but the thing you had Jay and Cody needlessly win them for 2 weeks and then drop them back to Judgment Day. And you got a tag division, you got a tag division, because I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent here, but you got all these people who also Rhea. Rhea had the title defense against Nia Jax. Rhea has had a solid reign because of her presence on TV. But her actual name me another title defense that she had. Roman has defended the title 3 times since retaining it against Cody last year. 3. Jey Uso at SummerSlam, LA Knight at Crown Jewel, and then the triple threat, and then the Fatal 4-Way at the Rumble. And it's needless. I would have been a bigger supporter of Roman retaining at Mania, because it was very clear they wanted him to hit 1,000 days. That's what they wanted. He was so close to it. It made no sense for him to drop it. Plus the story was, I got it. But, the fact that half of his televised matches last year were tag matches.
It just hurts. It just hurts because you have people like Stone Cold and The Rock back in the day who would show up week in, week out, no matter what. You know what I mean? Barring injury, obviously. But they would show up regardless as champion, when they were champion, when they weren't champion, and they were chasing that bell. And it's just, even Austin, when he had that long reign, 2001, I think, he was a champion. It's just annoying that, how do I put it? that Roman's not showing up, like more defenses, I guess. I don't mind him not showing up as much, but give us like one title defense every 30 days, that type of rule, or at least every 2
It
months.
doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be every 30 days. Like, I understand if you maybe want to alternate with like the world heavyweight title, which I'll get to in a second, and then like all these other, like, you want to alternate the the belt on each other pay-per-view. Like, I would get that, but to have this guy that you're trying to build up as the most dominant wrestler of the last 25 years, right? Like, he has had the most dominant reign since Hulk Hogan, and just to have him defend his title 4 times over the course of 365 days, and have almost every single one of those matches be, involve interference and shenanigans and stuff, and not have a clean, decisive win at least one of those times. All for the sake of having, trying to push him to have a record.
Okay, get this. It's WrestleMania 40 Night 2 main event. Cody Rhodes going for that crossroads. He's got Roman Reigns alone. Everyone's taken out. Solo does a spike. Roman retains 1, 2, 3. What's your thought?
Oh, you stop watching.
Legit?
Because at that point it's not about, because at that point you kill off any story that you were trying to build. There's no story that justifies that type of ending.
Can you imagine the literal exact entire repeat of last year as the finish?
I pray they don't do it. Like, if Roman retains through different means, like, I would be more a fan of Roman straight up just demolishing Cody on the second night than I would having there be interference. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a firm believer that if Roman, like the tribal combat match at SummerSlam, Roman should have mutilated Jey Uso. Roman should have absolutely obliterated Jey Uso. Well, the solo, like, we expected the solo, but that should have been Roman's. That should have been the match that Roman should have stood up and put Jey back in his place and say, like, no, I'm at the top. You stepped out of line. This is what happens, and made Jey an example of what happens when people question his dominance. Worse than that. Jey shouldn't have walked out. Like, Jey should have been carried out on a stretcher. That's how much it should have been. Like, and then so that's like that's their universal title, and then you have this world heavyweight championship. Now, when they brought the world heavyweight championship in, the big thing was it's a belt everybody's gonna have the chance. It's gonna be a belt that people it was the anti-Vince belt, was what it was. It was the belt that was made in, whether, like, the thought process behind it was basically everything that Vince didn't want to do, which was putting the belt on guys who Vince wouldn't have deemed worthy of the WWE champion moniker.
Say it like that. I think that Rollins and Drew have already proved their what's the word, status as WWE champion. They're okay with where they're at. I think. I don't think.
I say that in that, like, there was push to, like, you put guys like Nakamura, Damian Priest. AJ Styles held it for a while, but like you got like Balor, Nakamura, Damian Priest, Rey Mysterio. You got all these other guys who were in the tournament when they did the match, and then Bobby Lashley, and then you have all these guys who, Seth winning it was a sweet moment because Seth deserved it. Seth truly deserved the championship at the time when he had it. But for them to go, you're going to see people who, this is going to be a belt for new champions to make their name with. For people to make their names with. and have the same guy hold this belt for almost a year is totally unnecessary. Like you could have had, Nakamura could have won it with how good their feud was. Balor could have won it. I would have loved to see Finn Balor with the World Heavyweight title.
He should have won it. Seth could have won it back at the Rumble.
That's what I'm saying. You had like I understand, like showcasing it in matches with people who normally wouldn't have gotten that chance is not the same as actually pulling the trigger and putting it on them.
It was a good match. Balor and Rollins, SummerSlam especially.
Yeah, no, they have good matches, and that's not a knock on Seth's reign. I think Seth's reign itself, like from an objective standpoint, has been very solid. But right now, there's no reason that Seth needs to have the World Heavyweight Championship with what he's doing. His story right now is about, he's more worried feuding with the Bloodline than he is Drew McIntyre. Where Drew McIntyre's story is all about the title, Seth is about establishing dominant or trying to get rid of the higher powers of WWE.
Mm-hmm. Seth's busy. He's not focused.
Precisely.
Do you think that match is going to cause a hindrance in his world title match with Drew? Like a injured back coming into play?
It might. And that's the other thing. Like, Seth, if anybody's eating the pin, I feel like it's going to be Seth who eats the pin this match.
Unfortunately.
I've also wanted to segue into this other topic that I wanted to mention before previously. Is there's been a lot of talk about the World Heavyweight Championship basically being the secondary title.
Even though Triple H introduced it as like, we'll give you a champion who's going to be here, he'll show up, which is obviously a response to people saying Roman's not going to show up. We wanted Cody to win and, all that stuff. That World Championship is now just a second place because now everyone knows Roman's title is number one. There was a time when the World Heavyweight Championship, the big gold belt, and the WWE Championship were on the same level. They were equivalent. They were the same field. And then at one point, the Universal Championship was elevated and the WWE Championship were elevated. When AJ Styles had that reign back from 2017 to 2018, it was phenomenal, pun intended. But Lesnar's reign was just because he was an icon. He was someone to look to, for a good match. Lesnar matches delivered when they're, during that first Universal title reign. And then onwards, he was fighting Daniel Bryan. He had all these great matches. So Roman is the main guy, and if Cody becomes the main guy, Drew is going to be world champion, for example. It's going to be interesting how they see going forward. I can't really answer how it's going to be going forward, but I can say right now it is second place. Just because of how they're presenting everything.
I've seen a lot, there are people complaining about the World Heavyweight Championship being second fiddle, and what people aren't taking into account is there's been, for the last 8 years, the WWE Championship, I think up until Brock Lesnar won it off Kofi Kingston, from SummerSlam, as soon as they put the belt on the WWE Championship on Dean Ambrose at Money in the Bank, and he had a match, he defended against Dolph Ziggler. The WWE Championship was a mid-card title in comparison to the Universal Championship. It was very clear that Vince's priorities were on the Universal Championship because the Universal Championship was booked. It felt to the Universal title's credit, it felt it was goofy. The name was goofy. The design was absolutely atrocious. But it felt on the same level as the WWE, if not higher at points. And it was as the Universal title, it very clearly was Vince's pet project because there's no like, and he in his mind definitely viewed that as being the top title because you have guys who Vince wouldn't have put the belt on, like when you're putting one belt, it's very clear when you're putting your one championship on nobody else other than Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and Goldberg. And then your other belt's going on Kofi Kingston and AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, and that's Jinder Mahal. Like it's just so the people complaining about the World Heavyweight Championship being a second fiddle title is just they took one promo and they ran with it. Now that's not in, I do think that the championship has been poorly utilized with everything that they've been doing with the whole Bloodline versus Cody Seth feud, but it doesn't need to be involved in that picture. But the whole argument that it's never going to be as prominent as the WWE Championship, I think once the belt leaves Roman, I think that they'll probably be on equal footing. Because it's Roman who's making that. It's Roman who's making that title right now. It's not the other way around.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting how Cody does it. Do you think they're going to ununify it somehow?
I think they're going to retire. I think they're going to retire because I don't know if you've seen the promotional images and stuff. They're referring to Roman as WWE champion on all the posters.
Okay, that's good. I mean, he's the face of the company, to be fair, representative. So he's the WWE champion. I guess if they're not acknowledging the Universal, maybe it's just going to be dropped naturally.
I could just see them just. Because that's what they did for the world when they unified the belts back in 2015 with the actual one belt. I think it was only I think once Dean had the belt, they stopped calling it the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and just started calling it the WWE Championship.
Crazy to think that Roman could be the last Universal Champion.
He's what, one of 7 or 8?
Huh?
He's what, one of 7 or 8?
Yeah. It's still a fine class, though, right?
You had Balor, Brock, Goldberg, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns. Am I missing anybody?
I don't think so. Let me just confirm this here. I know you said them. I just want to read them all real quick because I have the list in front of me here. Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Goldberg, Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman. Yes. There have been a total of 8 champions. Brock Lesnar at 686 days. Kevin Owens in a fine third place at 188 at one reign.
Well, he held the reign for a while. He had the belt for a while.
Yeah, I do recall. That's crazy to think about. And now Roman's 1,300.
He got squashed by Goldberg.
Oh, it messed everything up. You had everything with Kevin Owens. You had the dream match. Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship in the main event of WrestleMania 33. In all interest, though, unfortunately, the World Heavyweight Championship is not what it was. Have you seen those images of the big gold belt on people like Batista, Triple H, Goldberg? Hell, if WCW days, Hulk Hogan. That belt, that design, I guess this is similar to the one we have today. Those felt credible on champions. And I'm not saying Seth Rollins isn't a champion, but at the time, those belts meant something. You wanted to be World Heavyweight Champion. You didn't want to be WWE Champion or WWF Champion. You wanted to be the World Heavyweight Champion, the big gold belt. And I'm glad Drew's taking it seriously, but he's saying it in a logical sense where I'm not going to go after Roman's title because I already know what the Bloodline's going to do. So I'm going to go after your World Heavyweight Championship because he knows it's a World Heavyweight title. you know, and he can't beat Gunther, which is interesting. So I could see a Gunther versus Drew feud down the road.
Personally, I don't understand. They should have just pushed the Intercontinental Championship back to being to world title status and just introduced maybe a new secondary title.
We have the United States Championship, though.
You can introduce another secondary title.
Another one. That's so many. We have the Universal Championship.
You can introduce it. Well, because you could introduce it. Well, I'm saying instead of like instead of the World Heavyweight Championship and having to introduce a whole new lineage, a whole new world. What is this? Is this their second world title they had to introduce in the last 10 years? You know, they could have just promoted the like Gunther has helped raise that Intercontinental Championship to such prestige that it could definitely pass as a world title.
He has a final boss status, somewhat. I just know that
before they brought the World Heavyweight Championship in, that's what the Intercontinental Championship used to be. It used to be the other big belt that people go after.
Yeah, main events at WrestleMania 6, I believe. Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. Was that 6? Or was it 9? It was one of the two.
I think it may have been 9.
It was 6. No, it was 6. I'm stupid. Hulk Hogan, the Yokozuna thing happened. But yeah, it was WrestleMania 6. That happened. Where Hulk Hogan lost the WWF title, and then Ultimate Warrior was the IC champion at the time. So it was interesting at the time how they made the IC. I see you're saying the IC championship relevant and big. Now it's become a workhorse title, I guess, or a mid card title, just to make sure people who aren't world champions feel good or like they're competing for something.
See, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like the Intercontinental Championship is like it's the stepping stone for like it's like that's what launches you into the main event scene.
Yeah, true.
No, once he's done with this title, there's no way he's going back for the Intercontinental Championship.
I mean, look at Ricochet. He lost the IC title and he's not doing anything. Shinsuke, not doing anything. I mean, I was going to go further down the list, but I can't really think of any off the top of my head. I would say Sami Zayn, but he main evented WrestleMania, so hard work does pay off. Wade Barrett.
Yeah, Wade Barrett was a good one too.
Mr. Perfect. Well, that's going back too deep, but Shelton Benjamin. There's a lot of people who are IC champion that just never got their WWE/World Championship due. Which unfortunately is okay. Not a big deal. But in terms of contracts, yeah, no, I think everyone's safe. I think they're going to be in WWE. It would be interesting to see them go somewhere else, but they're going to be WWE lifers. Oof, almost. I'm drinking this drink right now and just had like a gag reflex of air. It's like, oh. You think we're going to see the Hardys in WWE?
No, I think that next time we'll see them, they're going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, but that's about it.
I prefer that. They don't need a second or third run in WWE.
I don't need them to make another surprise entrant. I don't need them to make a surprise entrant slot and a tag team ladder match again for the second time in 10 years.
No, honestly, that's like, I just don't want to see them injured or hurt, pretty much. Let them do their thing.
All right, so this past week on Dynamite, Eddie Kingston has lost the Continental Championship to Kazuchika Okada in his first singles match. His second singles match with AEW.
Was it his first match with the Young Bucks?
No, his first singles match was with Bryan Danielson at Forbidden Door last year.
Fair enough.
All right, this is his first singles match as an AEW roster member. Now, I watched the match, but you watched the match live. I didn't. I thought it was an okay match. I don't think Eddie Kingston. I like Eddie Kingston for what he is. Is he the most groundbreaking, revolutionary wrestler on the planet? No. The crowd. He knows how to get the crowd behind him. He's a pretty good promo, but I don't think this was the best singles match to showcase Okada on the AEW roster. I think people are the biggest complaint I've seen online is people have been pitching fits about the fact that Okada, for no storyline's sake, has gotten handed a title match his second week with AEW.
Well, think of it like this. I'm going to divert. Remember Gunther, how he won? He did a debut and beat Drew Gulak in one jobber, and then I think he beat Ricochet and became IC champion.
Yes, but also they're playing up this corporate elite thing. I think that it's so good. It's so good and it's so convincing that people genuinely are pissed off about the fact that Okada's getting opportunities when other people haven't.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's supposed to be going along with the storyline, I believe, like you just said, where the Young Bucks, because they're, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson and taking their role seriously and putting themselves in tag title matches as well as providing their best friends high opportunities. And yeah, it's just a prime example of that. People booing are obviously just falling in for the act. It all works.
I something that they released too is, I guess now officially Tony Khan clarified that the Continental Championship is to be defended under C2 rules.
What is that?
So it's basically the stipulation for each match that was during the Continental Classic, where people are barred, your opponents have to be all managers and teammates are barred from, everyone's barred from ringside. I think there's a time limit on the matches too. And then there's something else as well. There's a couple other factors that play into the match, but what he said was that the Continental Classic is going to be a yearly tournament, and that the person with the Continental Championship will be entered into the tournament and has to win it to retain it.
Wait, hold on. Say that part again. They have to wait.
So Tony Khan, let me read this real quick. Okay. Tony Khan is clarified. So Tony Khan said that he has clarified the new rules for the AEW Continental Championship. Whoever is the champion going into the Continental Classic, they will have to put the title up in going into the Continental Classic tournament. They will have the opportunity to retain it by winning the tournament, and the title will be defended under Continental rules for the rest of the year, which includes no outside interference, nobody is allowed at ringside, and whoever is the champion coming out of Full Gear, they will defend the title in the Classic and at World's End, and we will determine who will be Continental Champion.
By when? By Full Gear?
Yeah, because they did the Continental Classic last year right after Full Gear. It was the week after Full Gear going into World's End.
Okay, so it's not that I'm lost by what you said. I'm just lost by why. Why do all this?
I think they should have. The belt should have there are I feel like I'm speaking for everybody here. There are a needless amount. I think I counted on hand. I think there's a total of 14 championships going around AEW at the moment.
Oh my gosh. Can you list them all for me?
All right.
Or should I pull up a list now?
If I can do it all by memory, I think this will be pretty impressive. So you have the AEW World Championship, you have the TNT Championship, International, Tag Team, Trios, Continental. You have the Ring of Honor World Championship, the Ring of Honor Pure Championship, the Ring of Honor Television Championship, even though I think that championship has been retired officially. Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, Ring of Honor 6-Man Tag Team Championships. You have the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, you have the AEW Women's Championship, and you have the AEW TBS Championship.
Did you say FTW?
And the FTW Championship, as well as the New Japan Strong Championship is on there as well, because Eddie Kingston holds it. And Vikingo was on AEW, and he was the AAA champion.
Ugh. That's a lot of titles, huh?
A lot of titles. Like, I don't know. Like, I understand if they're all like I don't understand.
Like, why? Like, is it just to appeal to? Because WWE, obviously, let's be real, they are limited on championships, right? They're limited. Not everyone can be a champion. Not everyone can contend for championships, right? U.S. Championship, IC title, World Heavyweight Championship, women's and men's tag titles, as well as the women's world titles and the Universal Championship. Otherwise, there's nothing else. NXT's, I feel like, I'm not saying they're separate, but you get my drift on that separate. AEW, those all over the place. They're appealing to trios, Ring of Honor. I'm sure New Japan titles get defended on AEW, but that's exclusive to New Japan. I could be wrong about that or correct.
No, you're correct.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, going forward, I just think the titles need to be limited. Tony Khan needs to understand not everybody could be a champion. Not everyone deserves to contend as a champion. I understand wrestling is supposed to be like fake or make believe, but it's supposed to be credible. It's supposed to be believable.
See, I don't think this would be as much of an issue if you kept Ring of Honor on Ring of Honor and you kept AEW on AEW.
Exactly. Why did Tony have to try to merge? It's because he was trying to appeal to all the marks. He's appealing to everybody, and I just don't get it. I don't get what the appeal is in having 20 champions on one roster. I don't get it.
It's disorganized. It'd be a lot easier if they instead of introducing a whole new show for Collision, they could have just promoted Ring of Honor to be that show. Like, yeah, Ring of Honor doesn't carry the same name weight that AEW does, but with the right promoting, they definitely could have done it. And
the fans from AEW are going to watch Ring of Honor.
exactly.
I know that they will.
I believe they tape Ring of Honor at Collision shows, I think.
I want to say I believe so, because I remember there were Ring of Honor tapings before Collision, like on a Saturday. Was it there? I remember Ronda Rousey came out to Ring of Honor before. Basically, it was airing before something. Is my point, and I don't know if it was Collision or not. But anywho, yeah.
Yep, it's Ring of Honor show being taped after the live broadcast of Collision.
Oh, wow. So the people in the crowd get to enjoy Ring of Honor, all 25 of them.
Yeah, but you don't buy, like, why would you buy a Ring of Honor just to treat it like your main event?
It's this
like your main event or your 205 Live.
Why not take the people on Dark and put them on Ring of Honor?
Well, Dark is no longer a thing.
The people that were on Dark, I guess.
I think they're on Rampage now. They graduated to Rampage.
Oh,
if you can call it a graduation.
Hey, I mean that's a step up. Has MJF ever been on Rampage?
Yeah, I believe so.
What?
Rampage used to be pretty impressive because CM Punk, I think, debuted on a Rampage, and then they had, I think, Kenny Omega when he was champion. I think ate his first L on a Rampage against Christian.
I think also. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this here. Yeah, he's. I think it's someone's saying also Chris Jericho might have not been on Rampage, but I think he has.
Oh, he definitely has.
Yeah, I remember. I feel like he's had a match before, like in a tag team match at least. Oh, he's on the commentary team. Oh, and then yeah, he does fight Matt Sydal. Okay, so yeah, I just had to notice that. I guess graduation up to Rampage, and then if like you said, if you can call it that, but then Rampage to Dynamite, and then Dynamite to getting lost in the shuffle. Fuck AEW.
And then Adam Copeland beats Christian Cage to
That
become
match was fun.
a 2-time TNT champion.
That match was great. I liked it. I didn't. Okay, I'm being nitpicky here, but I didn't like the part where they were by the crowd. I don't know if you peeped this. They were by the crowd, and Edge grabbed a jersey and he put it on Christian, and Christian just let him put it on, and Christian just kind of put it on, and Edge put on a jersey, and it's fun. I understand, but it just made it look so fake at that point. You could tell.
It was just a goofy thing with the crowd because
No, I like it. No. I like the whole brawling with the jerseys on. I'm just saying when he put it on Christian, it just you could see Christian trying to put it on himself and forcing himself to wear it. You know what I mean? Like not Edge kind of putting it on him. And again, I understand it's staged and all that, but I guess that's me being nitpicky as I grow older. I hate it. It's terrible. I put you in a pause. Ladies and gentlemen, paused.
What did you? So you thought? I mean, besides that, what do you think of Adam Copeland becoming champion?
I think it's great. I'm actually interested to see where it's going to go. I was expecting. I think everyone was. That it's going to conclude at Revolution. This whole story between them. Sorry, I had a hiccup there. But I think they're going to keep going till Double or Nothing. Maybe a final match there.
I mean, I feel like this is going to like. As a part of the story that's being overlooked, I think, is Daniel Garcia's part in it.
Yeah, he face at Revolution Christian and lost.
Yeah, he lost against Christian.
Mm-hmm. But what about him though?
I think I could see him getting involved some more in this story because there's some unspoken of faction. Not even faction. It's just like Edge has not teamed up. Edge has sided with, has gathered all the support, all these people that Christian has pissed off in the last year of him being a heel. But the one who's been most noteworthy has been Daniel Garcia. I just personally, I want to see Edge go on a decent run with the TNT Championship. I could see him because we haven't say what you will. I know he's very controversial on the interwebs. One of the things that Orange Cassidy did pretty solid with the international title was that he was defending it on a weekly basis against everybody. It wasn't he had open challenges every week, and then he kept defending the title. And since he lost that belt, we haven't gotten that with one of the many titles that they've done. So I could see him going on a pretty good tear for a couple weeks, having open challenges against people and him having all these matches with younger and different talent than he's used to. And having, I feel like a match with Edge versus Daniel or Adam Copeland versus Daniel Garcia, that was going to be a pretty good match. Probably not anytime soon, but if we got
Edge is doing what he wants, and I like it. Yeah. I like it a lot.
It's very clear. People are talking about he's wasting his career, he's wasting his final years and stuff. The man is very clearly happy with what he's doing. He's having fun. He's dressing, more closer to what he did when he was he's dressing. He's weird old man biker Edge, and I love it.
No, exactly. That's too true. Edge is just having fun. Remember that weapon he had? I think what was his name again?
Spike.
That's what I thought it was something more different. I don't know why, but Spike. Yes, the way he just introduces this is a new side of Edge that definitely wasn't ready for WWE. WWE couldn't handle. I think in this time.
I think I don't know. I really liked. I understand. I like this version of Adam Copeland more than I did his last when he turned heel against AJ Styles. I wasn't all that big of a fan of his Judgment Day Edge just because I thought a weird mob boss brood Edge. I thought that was kind of weird. I said a weird mob hot gothic mob boss thing with the Judgment Day was a little bit weird.
I mean, I like the idea though because Edge. I was interested to see where it's just going to go towards WrestleMania now. Like, you have Edge as a Judgment Day, group. Hell in a Cell, they just won. Finn Balor's going to join the group. I hated that they kicked Edge out so quick. I was expecting maybe Edge was going to be on a world title hunt towards Roman or something major. And it's going to be, just you get my drift. Just the Judgment Day just being more of a bigger threat going forward, and Edge is going to have his own faction and team to help him do his dirty work. But it's just one of those things where I think if Judgment Day was still around and Edge was their leader, it would have been more fruitful and successful. But Edge didn't want to be a part of that shit.
I don't remember what the explanation as to why he left was.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to be. I think he just didn't want to be a part of the.
I personally think they found more success without him than they did with him.
Yeah, they did well without him. Yeah, Finn Balor's doing a great job adapting.
Rhea Ripley taking over as the leader of the Judgment Day, I think, was what was best for business.
Oh yeah.
As much as I love it, as much as they're great. Like Judgment Day is WWE's equivalent of the Bullet Club.
Okay.
Say what you want about the OC, say what you want about the club, all these guys. Like the Judgment Day is the Bullet Club of the WWE. They exist solely to piss people off. They're involved in everything.
They have anybody in there. JD McDonough.
You could take random people out and sub people in, and it's believable. They're always expanding. Like this, like it could be a cool stable where like you could have like you could have one or two people stay constant members, but you're constantly subbing people out for new members. Like I could definitely see Andrade joining the Judgment Day.
That's going to be pretty clean, honestly.
Andrade joining the Judgment Day could be pretty cool.
Can you really imagine him in the gothic stuff, though?
I could see him rocking some black and purple. I mean, but he's already wearing the skull, like luchador masks out to the ring.
I guess, yeah. He'd be more to it, but
like, did you not see the headdress he came out to at the Rumble with the antlers and the skull?
Is that symbolic, you think?
Probably.
If he joins the Judgment Day, I'm all for it. But, I just want to make sure it actually makes sense. Not just a superstar joining the Judgment Day just to be there. Make sure he blends in with the aesthetic, Everyone adapted their music and everything. So I figure they should do the same thing with Andrade, right?
I mean, Andrade's music sounds like he could blend in. He doesn't have like his like.
It's the attire. The attire, though. The attire. That's pretty much it.
I mean, you could just you could palette swap the attire, and it's good to go. Right. He's wearing white. He wears leather pants.
Black leather pants from now on would be nice. But yeah, AEW, those two were really the highlights. The Okada match and the Edge versus Christian match. Eddie Kingston, can I just say before we divert off to AEW, do you think he's going to be a good world heavyweight champion, like AEW world champion? If he was to be,
I think his time. I don't ever want to say that people like their time is up, because like in the world of professional wrestling, anything could change at the drop of a hat if done right. I think with the path that they're carving in for the future, for the very obvious future of the next 2 years, I don't see Eddie Kingston anywhere near that championship. I don't. I see, you got Swerve Strickland, you got Will Ospreay, you got Okada, you got Jay White, you got MJF if he comes back. Even Adam Copeland, I think, has more of a chance of winning the championship. Or Christian, like I don't see Eddie Kingston winning that. I think he's had a solid run with the Ring of Honor World Championship and the New Japan Championships. He had a good showing in the G1 last year. He had an amazing showing in the Continental Classic, proving that he can hang with everybody. I think because his story isn't about winning the championship, it's just about proving that he belongs where he is. And his promo he cut backstage after he lost to Okada, it wasn't about him getting pissed off at Okada and hating Okada and declaring revenge. It was him basically just saying, I kept up for as long as I could. Please respect that title with everything you have.
I just don't think Eddie Kingston can do it for me. I don't think Eddie Kingston has it. Is there a reason why people praise him?
I think praise is a strong word. I mean, there are people who it's all subjective. There are certain things that just don't resonate with audiences, and there's things that do. A lot of people, you talk about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes that split right down the middle. You go through comments and stuff, people are like, yeah, fuck Roman Reigns, or people are like, Cody's not winning, you all are just a bunch of Cody crybabies. For years, people ripped on Roman Reigns for basically being a horrible wrestler that nobody wanted around and lacked all the skills and tools it took to be a legitimate, to be the guy.
I don't think he's.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And now look where we are.
I just don't think Eddie Kingston has what it takes. Opinion. Do you think he could be in WWE? Or do you think he's just going to put people over?
I think he...
Like, if he went to WWE, do you think his role would just be putting people over?
I don't see him going to WWE. I don't think he could ever go to WWE.
They would restrict him hardcore.
Yeah, he's one of those wrestlers that just benefits from having more
open mics.
Not even open mics, but just his style is just I don't like Attitude Era, but he's just not. It's just he's built more for the hardcore. His character's more tailored for the hardcore fan base than it is for the market that WWE tries to cater to.
The opposite. Yeah, he's not really in that field.
I would say the same thing about like Jon Moxley right now too. The only reason why people would want Jon Moxley to go back to WWE is because he was once Dean Ambrose.
The Shield.
The Jon Moxley today is not suited for WWE.
Oh, hell no. He's trying to be Stone Cold.
I don't think he's trying to be Stone Cold.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
He thinks he's a badass. These crazy spots that he does in AEW is ridiculous. I'm glad there's a reason WWE limited him. I don't know.
Certain people are built to thrive in different, the people are. I think just the WWE, you look at the WWE format and style, and just certain people with what makes them happy and what they excel at is just not what fits that mold.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't think, there are people I think he stated that, even like Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, they take inspiration from, but I don't think that they're that people are just direct ripoffs of one another. It's the same way people talk about LA Knight being nothing but a diet rock, a redneck rock, as Roman Reigns called him.
Yeah, that one doesn't really make any sense. I don't get that. LA Knight's doing his own thing.
No, but he has the same very similar speech pattern, and he talks the same, and he is very energetic the same way. I get it. I get where the argument is coming from, but at the same time, like, it's very clear they're trying to do their own different things, and that kind of piggybacks off to the John Moxley Stone Cold comparison.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna brief pause because I had a brain fart myself when I'm timestamp that. With John Moxley though, I mean, I don't hate him per se. I just think that he tries a little too hard to show that he has all this creative freedom, which I don't think he needs to show off.
I mean, he's over with people, you know?
He's stupid over. I won't deny that. He has a lot of star power.
You know, he may be bald, but he's jacked. He knows how to cut a promo. Say what you will, but his in-ring work is better than most for what he tries to do. Before we cut the show to a close, did you see that the Slammies are back?
For WWE?
Yeah, they brought the Slammies back.
So the end of the year awards, they're back?
Yeah, I think they're like I think they're like awards that they're going to be doing at like the Hall of Fame, I think.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
Some very, very weird nominees. I'll go over them quickly. We won't dive too much into them, but I just wanted to shed some light on it.
Oh, shoot, they're up. Yeah. Please read them off. Yeah.
Wrestler of the Year, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Gunther, Logan Paul.
Oh, Logan Paul has to win it, but it's going to be Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins.
I think it's going to be Cody. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Io Sky, Becky Lynch.
Rhea.
Yeah. Best entrance.
Cody
Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, Seth Rollins, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, The Rock, Dominic Mysterio from WrestleMania 39.
They're going to give it to Dom for sure.
Yeah.
He had the best entrance, hands down.
Return of the Year, Naomi, Randy Orton, Nia Jax, The Rock, CM Punk. We all know who's winning that one.
CM Punk.
Faction of the Year, Judgment Day, Alpha Academy, Bloodline, Imperium, Damage Control.
Wait! I gotta say, Judgment Day. I would love it storyline wise. They gave it for Alpha Academy, but Judgment Day for sure.
This is the thing I find really weird. So we get into some of the we get into these categories, and these are a little weird. Rivalry of the Year: Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, Dirty Dom versus Rey Mysterio, Bianca Belair versus Damage Control, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, R-Truth versus the Judgment Day.
R-Truth versus the Judgment Day.
There's like a couple feuds here I feel like that need to be shadowed. I feel like Usos versus the Bloodline, that deserves to be in there. I think more than Cody versus Roman does.
Seth versus Finn.
Seth versus Finn. Seth versus Shinsuke.
Those were feuds, but the feud of the summer was definitely, Seth versus Finn. Dom versus Ray, really. But that was 2024, I guess you could say. But I think
Logan Paul versus Ricochet, I think, deserves to be on here more than R-Truth versus Judgment Day.
Exactly, at least over that. I just don't get why.
Team Cody Rhodes versus Judgment Day for War Games too. I feel like that also deserves to be on there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They were feuding for months.
As I'm saying, NXT superstar Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker for sure.
Where's my boy Trick?
Almost. He's almost there.
Another year. Next year he'll be up there. Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. Match of the Year. This is where I have a problem with some of these. Okay. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, San Juan Street Fight. Love that match. Probably arguably the most fun match of the year.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn Elimination Chamber. Gunther versus Chad Gable, September 4th Raw. Asuka versus Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair, SummerSlam 2023. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, WrestleMania 39.
Well, at least Charlotte Flair has a 40% chance of winning.
Where is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos?
Where's Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes? That match was
Where's-
arguably match of the year.
Where's Gunther versus Drew versus Sheamus?
That match was definitely match of the year.
Like, the fact that, like, no disrespect to Roman or Sammy, but that match is nothing compared to those 3 matches that we just listed.
No, this is definitely WWE influenced. These are not nominated by fans. I think these are the WWE.
OMG moment of the year. That's pretty self-explanatory. Social star of the year: Grayson Waller, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Chelsea Green, Liv Morgan. Breakout star: Jey Uso, Tiffany Stratton, Pretty Deadly, Dragon Lee, LA Knight.
Okay, breakout star has got to go to Jey Uso. Oh wait, but
I think it's going to go to LA Knight.
I can even see Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be upfront, but social star of the year has got to be Logan Paul for sure. He's viral.
It might be Drew. It might be Drew. Why The Rock isn't on social star of the year, I don't know.
He's cutting promos every week.
He's cutting promos on Instagram talking about how he's going to whip Cody with a belt and hand the belt to his mom.
Spoiler alert on Raw of March 25th, he definitely did that. Well, not the mom part, but he definitely got the belt with blood.
Well, yeah, on the belt it said Mama Rhodes on it with the bowl.
Get ready for the main event of night 1. This is going to be crazy. But yeah, OMG moment. I believe that's the last one here. We got Rey Mysterio punches Dirty Dom on SmackDown. CM Punk returns at Survivor Series. Io Sky cashing in Money in the Bank. The Rock slapping Cody Rhodes at the press conference. Damage Control turning on Bayley. And Cody Rhodes slapping The Rock on SmackDown. Wow. I think Punk is getting that one too.
It's got to be Punk.
Return of the year and like OMG moment, because here's the thing: they were rumors, and the arena. Remember the camera zoomed out. Here's the thing: we didn't think Punk was coming back right when those credits rolled. Let's be real; no one thought. But the music.
Oh yeah.
Once that music hit, that's when you knew. Holy shit. All right, T-Dog, Thomas, my boy, that does end up everything that we've discussed here, especially the AEW, the Slammy Awards, the wrestling contracts, and I really hope Drew does stick around. If he does end up signing to leave, hopefully they book him right, book him accordingly. Of course, all social media will be in the description below. All below will be attached. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Thomas?
Stay in school, eat your vegetables.
Say your prayers and eat your vitamins, as one hoaxer would say, as well as ourselves. Take care and have a great night. Doo-doo.